You know how some people just seem to have all the luck? They find $20 bills on the street, they're always in the right place at the right time. Well, today, we're diving into the fascinating psychology behind luck and asking a huge question. Can you actually make yourself luckier?
So, let's just get right to it. The big question on everyone's mind. Are some people just born under a lucky star? Is it all just a random force that picks and chooses its favorites? Or is there something else going on? Something we have way more control over than we think. The research here is honestly pretty mind-blowing.
Okay, so check this out. There was this brilliant study. Researchers took two groups of people, one group that identified as lucky and another that felt they were consistently unlucky. They sent each person, one by one, to a coffee shop. But here's the twist. They planted a $20 bill on the sidewalk outside. The lucky people, almost all of them spotted the money, picked it up, went inside, and even struck up conversations with strangers, making new connections. The unlucky group, they tended to just walk right over the cash and miss everything. So what was really going on here?
And here is the absolute kicker. It wasn't about chance. Not at all. The difference was their mindset. The lucky people were simply more open, more relaxed, and more attentive to what was happening around them. The unlucky group, on the other hand, was often so focused on their anxieties or just getting from point A to point B that they had tunnel vision. They literally couldn't see the opportunities right at their feet. So luck, it turns out, is deeply, deeply tied to our inner world.
So if it's all about what's going on inside our heads, what exactly is that inner world made of? This brings us to a huge concept, something we're going to call our hidden mental blueprint. And yeah, it gets wired in when we're very, very young.
The core idea here is something psychologists call a schema. Now, don't let the technical term throw you. Just think of it like the operating system running in the background of your mind. It's this deep, almost unconscious pattern of beliefs and emotions formed in childhood that quietly shapes how you see everything. It's kind of like wearing a pair of colored glasses that you completely forgot you're even wearing.
And these mental blueprints, they basically come in two main flavors. If, as a kid, your core needs for safety, connection, and love were generally met, you likely developed healthy, what we call adaptive schemas. But if those critical needs weren't met, you might have formed maladaptive schemas, these painful, distorted ways of seeing the world that, well, can stick with you for a long time.
So what happens when you're an adult and something in your life triggers one of these old, painful, maladaptive schemas? Well, we tend to react in one of three predictable ways. These are our default coping styles.
First up, we have surrender. This is when you just completely buy into the schema's narrative. You accept it as fact. So if your schema tells you, I'm always going to fail, you unconsciously find ways to prove it right. You'll gravitate towards situations or even people that confirm this belief, creating a perfect self-fulfilling prophecy of bad luck.
The second reaction is avoidance. And this one is pretty straightforward, right? To stop that old pain from getting triggered, you just hide. You avoid any situation that might poke the bear. You won't apply for that amazing job. You won't ask that person on a date. You basically make your world smaller and smaller to feel safe. But in doing that, you slam the door on all sorts of opportunities for good luck to even find you.
And number three is a real trip, overcompensation. This is where you fight your schema with everything you've got. If your schema says, I'm not good enough, you might become an obsessive perfectionist, burning yourself out trying to prove you are. It's a desperate attempt to prove the story wrong, but it often backfires and creates a whole new kind of chaos.
All right, so we have these schemas, these hidden beliefs, and we have these three default reactions. Now let's really connect the dots and see how this internal machinery actually manufactures what we experience as luck, or a lack of it, in the real world.
This chart just lays it all out so clearly. It's a chain reaction. Take a look at the mistrust schema. The story it tells you is, people are just out to hurt or deceive me. So what's the real-world result? You reject genuine help, you push away people who want to collaborate, you end up isolated. Your schema literally creates the very reality you were afraid of. It's a closed loop.
But wait, the story doesn't stop there. It actually goes a layer deeper. What if these patterns, these luck stories you've been living, didn't even start with you?
Yeah, it turns out these things can be passed down through generations. Sometimes we just absorb our parents' beliefs and their ways of coping without even realizing it. Other times, we inherit these powerful family narratives. Stories like, people in our family always struggle with money. And get this is wild. Emerging research in epigenetics suggests that the trauma our ancestors experienced can actually cause genetic changes that are then passed down, predisposing us to some of these very same patterns.
Now, I know this might all sound a bit deterministic, maybe even a little bleak, but it's actually the exact opposite. Because once you understand the pattern, you can start to change it. So how do we begin to consciously rewrite our own story about luck?
This really says it all. The goal isn't to control the universe. It's not about getting rid of randomness, because you can't. It's about cultivating an inner state, a mindset that's flexible and open and resilient. This doesn't mean you're guaranteed to win the lottery, but it dramatically increases the odds that good, positive, lucky things will happen to you.
So here it is, the most important takeaway of all. What we often call bad luck or fate is really just a psychological pattern playing out on a loop over and over again. It's not a life sentence written in the stars. And the absolute first step to changing any pattern is just to see it, to become aware that it's there.
So I'll just leave you with this to think about. What's the luck story you've been telling yourself, maybe without even realizing it? And is it maybe time to start writing a new one?